Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Reese again. And as you can see, when you click on this link, you are going to be in the video where I'm explaining the slides. But up above this link is another link to these slides. And you can print them out if you'd like and work on them at home, or you could just look at them, but you don't have to turn them into your teacher. They are just for fun and for you to be able to follow along with me. So here we go. Let's look at the first slide, turning poetry into poetry. And I really like that because this is about growing our brains. With poetry, you have to take risks. You have to be, as a writer, thinking that it doesn't have to be perfect. So just do your best and write down what comes to your mind, and then you can always go back and make it better. But you have to have that growth mindset for sure. That's why it's called poetry. A couplet poem, the definition is down here, and it says couplet poetry is a two-line poem that rhymes. Each line will contain the same number of syllables, so get your clapping hands ready. All right, this is kind of what I talked about in the slide before this one. So we're focusing on rhyming and syllables. All right, so now let's learn about some couplet poems. Two lines of poetry that rhyme and usually have the same meter. Meter is a fancy word that we use in poetry to describe the syllables or the rhythm or the beat that is kind of created when you write a couplet. And that's what makes it fun. The meter is something that you talk about in a song usually. Rap lyrics, musical lyrics, lots of books on your bookshelf for kids like Dr. Seuss, they have that meter and that rhythm to them. You can kind of feel that it's very sing-songy. And here's an example. On a branch, an owl was perching. For his dinner, he was searching. Perching and searching rhyme, and then they have the same amount of syllables. All right, I'm going to give you a few seconds to clap them out and see if you can guess how many syllables are in each line. Did you come up with 8? If you did, you are correct. 8 syllables in each line. All right, so now the next slide is going to go through the directions of how to write your own couplet poem. So basically read through these directions, and then on this next slide, this one, you can practice writing if you'd like, or you can just do it on any sheet of paper, or you can start writing on the slide that you're going to turn into your teacher. So every day you're writing different poems. On the slide that you're going to turn in Google Classroom, you can write your final copy, or you can do more than one couplet poem if you'd like to go above and beyond, if you really are feeling creative. So let's look at number 1. Think about a topic you love and write your first line. Hint, it might take a couple of tries. I like that they said write about something you love, because when you write about things that you know about and you write about things that you love, you have a lot more ideas and experience, which makes your poem even better. Number 2, brainstorm a list of words that are going to rhyme with the last word in your first line. So brainstorming is a part of that writing process. So any word that you want to rhyme with, write it down. So if you think of dog, hog, log, bog, sog, I don't know, it may not even be a real word. Write it down. You never know. Number 3, write your second line. Number 4, make sure that the last word rhymes with the last word in the first line. And then number 5, count to make sure both lines have the same number of syllables. Get those clapping hands ready. Number 6, create your couplet poem and add it to your poetry page for your poetry book. That means add it to your slide when you're all done. All right, this slide is the 4th slide, and we have some examples up at the top of couplet poems. I like that the author gave each poem a title. I encourage you to give your poems a title to make the reader think about your poem and what it might be about. This one's called Playful Spider. Little spider played in the sun, climbing on steps just for some fun. I hear the rhyme, sun and fun. The next one is called Turtle Trouble. And I really like this title because the author is using each word in the title starts with a T. And that is something that poets use called alliteration. It's a really big word. Can you say it? Alliteration. Alliteration is when you use two words that start with the same letter. And I encourage you to use some alliteration in your couplet poem if you'd like. Turtle trouble. Tell me if you think you know how to make a turtle go. Do you hear the meter? All right, I had to read it twice to make sure that I got the rhythm correct. All right, so here are some more directions. Give your poem a title, write your first line, create a list of rhyming words, do that brainstorming, write your second line, and then do some practice. Okay, boys and girls, I am going to go to the next slide now, and we are going to finish these couplets. So let's play a game. I'm going to read it, and then you're going to think about what goes in the blank, and then I'll type it. Are you ready? Number 1, my cat, she likes to chase a mouse, especially one that's in the, did you say house? House rhymes with mouse. Number 2, lightning, thunder all around, soon the rain falls on the, did you say ground? Ground and around. Notice that the rhyming words have the same spelling, O-U, saying ow. Number 3, this is a familiar one. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. You got it. All right, number 4, it's hard to see the butterfly because he flies across the sky. You can hear the meter and the rhyme in these couplets, I bet. It's kind of fun. All right, so now it's time to write one together. And what I did, because I was having a hard time thinking, is I followed the directions on the previous slide where it said brainstorm a lot of rhyming words. And so that's what I did. I went down here at the bottom, as you can see, and started thinking of all the words of things that might be funny or that I enjoyed, like book, nook, took, rook. If it came to my mind, I wrote it down. And so I'm going to think about, I love the ocean, but I think I'm going to do this one because I go on a walk every day. And so I like to go on really long walks where I look at all the chalks. That doesn't sound great. I like to go on really long walks. I want to rhyme it with chalk because everywhere I go, I see sidewalk chalk. Maybe you're even doing some sidewalk chalk. And chalks isn't really a word. So I like to go on a really long walk where I look at all the chalk. And now I'm going to count the syllables. That makes more sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where I look at all the colorful chalk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I like to go on a real long walk. I like to go on a real long walk where I look at all the colorful chalk. I like to go on a real long walk where I look at all the colorful chalk. Too much, where I look at the colorful chalk. So see how I had to keep going back and forth and try to make it work. I don't get it right on the first time, and neither will you, and that's okay. So we keep trying. I like to go on a real long walk, 9 syllables, where I look at the colorful chalk. 9 syllables. Yay! And now I feel pretty proud of myself. So I started out by thinking of what I want to write about and did a lot of different brainstorming and rhyming words. And then I made sure the last 2 words rhyme and that they have the same amount of syllables. All right. And this next slide basically is just a reference guide for you to look at some of the different elements of poetry. So we've talked about rhyme and rhythm. Repetition is another device that you'll see in a lot of poems. Imagery, those are adjectives and describing words. Similes and metaphors help create a picture in your mind by comparing one thing to another. Alliteration, I went over that earlier. 4 friends found free food. All the letters start with the letter F. Onomatopoeia, sound words are usually found in poems to help you to hear what the author wants you to imagine that something sounds like. And then personification is a really cool poetry element where animals act and sound and do things that make them seem like human beings. So I bet you can think of a lot of characters who are animals that act like people. So that's another element that you might see in poems. So as you go through all of the poems in this assignment for the week, you may want to go back and refer to this poster to help you with some of the different elements of poetry. And now it is your turn to try your own couplet poem. So you can go to the slide and give it a try. Remember, growth mindset, it doesn't have to be perfect, but do your best and I know you'll have fun. Before we go, I would love to read this couplet poem to you and to all the second graders because I wanted to say goodbye. It's been a very strange end of the year, but I'm going to miss you all and I know we'll see each other again soon. It's called Goodbye. I'm glad I was your teacher. I've come to love you so. I can't believe the end is here. I hate to see you go. I've watched you learn and grow and change from day to day. I hope that all the things we've done have helped in some small way. So it's with happy memories that I send you out the door with great hope and expectations for what next year holds in store. Remember all the fun we had and all the things we did, but most of all remember, you're a very special kid.